everybody. Welcome to ATL Prime Sports, brought to you by the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. I'm Todd Corder, coming to you live from the ATL. We have a special guest of the show today, former Major League pitcher Randy Lurch, who pitched for the Phillies, the Brewers, the Giants, and the Expos. Spent 11 years in the show in Major League Baseball. He has a great book out. It's called God in the Bullpen. He's got an event on this Saturday, June 6th. And Randy, welcome to ATL Prime Sports.
Thank you, Tom. It's really nice to be on your show again, my friend. I look forward to it.
Well, you know what, my friend, this is going to be really good because, first of all, before we get into the book a little bit, tell me about your event this Saturday.
About my what?
Tell me about your event this Saturday.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
No, it's going to be a virtually a book event. We're going to be talking about my book, God in the Bullpen. It'll be Saturday at 3:00 Pacific time. People can find out about it on your web or on Facebook. And I've been asked a lot of questions about my book and how I came about writing it and about, my cirrhosis and what the inspiration and how God helped me through these troubled times. And, I'm going to let the people are going to write in and I'm going to answer their questions the best I can.
Tell everybody how they can purchase the book.
Right now, the book can be purchased on Amazon.com or on Barnes & Noble. And it's right there. And just go to that website, and they'll be happy to you can order it, and they'll send it to you.
That's great. These are troubled times we're living in today. How can your book help one out for what is going on today in the world? How can the book inspire a person to get through these difficult times?
Well, what a great question, Todd. I appreciate that. I call the book my book of hope. I wrote the book after years of drug and alcohol abuse, and I ended up being diagnosed with cirrhosis. And the doctor told me you need to be on the liver transplant list, and I denied doing that. I declined to do that because I felt I did it to myself, and I felt the liver needed to go to somebody that didn't damage their liver on their own. That life's consequences did it, and so I wrote the book after those years, and after the doctors, after 2 years of doing what the doctor said, and through tons of prayer. The doctor said that, Randy, it looks like you've been given a second chance. And so I wanted to climb the highest mountain and tell the world what God's grace did for me, and that there is hope through God and God's grace. And I started thinking about what kind of book is that, Randy? And I said, you know what? This is a book of hope. This isn't just a book for people that are having or struggling with drug and alcohol abuse. This is a book that you can have hope through God's grace, and it can be a book that can help people through any troubled times if they just put their hope in the Lord, and especially this time what we're going through in these troubled times of the world, this pandemic, and where people are saying, man, what's going on? Where's my life at now? I don't have anything to hope for. And also with, the terrible riots and stuff like that's going on. And, I think that this book can be also used as an inspiration in all ways, in times of need, buddy.
Well, that's a really good answer. Think about it. We had the death of Mr. Floyd. That was just absolutely inexcusable what the police officer did, and then the other police officers that stood around and watched it, did nothing about it. Then, of course, we had the protests. The protests turned into riots, and the riots destroyed people's businesses. They were African-American businesses. white people's businesses, everybody's business. So, I mean, and it wasn't just African Americans doing it in the protest. There were plenty of white people doing it too. So, we have all this unrest in our country. We've had curfews in about every major metropolitan city in the United States for the past 5 or 6 days. It's just been really troubling times. And, in your book, you talked about your faith. And in this case here, everybody needs to come together with their faith, talk things out. Everybody's different. So your book with your faith, maybe that'll be a help for others out there.
I could have said that any better, Todd. You put it beautifully, my friend. And I can't tell you the amount of people that have gotten a hold of me, the stories, the way that their stories, what's going on in their lives. I mean, like you said, it's not just, I wrote my book about drug and alcohol abuse, but it ended up being, we have hope in God. And if we lose hope, then we don't have anything. And you hear stories about the people that, or just think about it. They're just starting through this virus, and their business has been closed for months, and maybe their business was struggling just before they closed with the pandemic, or maybe it was a business that was really doing good, and now with the pandemic, now they're struggling to just stay afloat. And I get I get a lot of these people talking about that, and people just literally, and you can see it on TV also, the way they just throw their hands up where their building has just been destroyed and been burnt, or you have somebody that their mom just died, or parents just died of the coronavirus. In all my years, my friend, the world is in such turmoil that I don't know what I tell my wife Maria, who is a strong Christian, I say, Maria, what would people do? How do people even live without God in their lives? And I know that I couldn't make it, and I always point to people that contact me that just put your faith in God and in prayer. He'll be with you, and he'll give you hope through that, buddy.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and I think he's the number one solution to all these rough times that we're having, not only in the United States but all over the world. Let's go ahead and change some gears here. Tell me because we talked about when you came on a couple weeks ago about some of the book, very little of the book in the major leagues, and I want to shift gears to the minor leagues. Tell me your favorite minor league story that is in this book, because there are several of them, and I was laughing when I was reading it last weekend, and I'm like, I want you to tell me your favorite one.
Well, it's so funny you asked me this question. I've got the biggest grin on my face because believe this or not, after 40 years, I don't know how many people know the name Dane Ort, but he was in the 1982, I believe, World Series, the Brewers and the Cardinals. He was playing for the Cardinals, and he got a lot of pinch hits, and he had a 11-year major league season. I hadn't seen Dane Ort was a graduate from college, and him and I met in AA baseball, and we were sitting around after 40 years of not seeing each other. He's 70 now, and I'm 65, and we were actually telling old minor league stories, and just. We sat for 4 hours yesterday just telling those stories. It was like it was yesterday, but I think the one story, and Dan and I were talking about me being a kid and just coming out of high school, and Dane graduating from Brigham Young University, so he was 4 or 5 years older than me, like you said, and we the stories we were telling, and I was talking about the first time that because the teams they put us in our first year or my first year in low A. They called it the college league. They had the rookie league in minor leagues for the minor league high school players. And my scouts felt like I had enough ability to play with the college players that they had drafted coming right out of college. And, you know, I was just a kid, and those guys were like grown men, right? And every single one of them, they don't do it now that I know of, but the thing is for these college kids, they thought it was cool to chew their chewing tobacco, right? And so I wanted to be cool, just like the college kids. So I tried some of that. And my first welcome to the minor leagues was to be so sick I couldn't hardly, after trying to chew it for a half an inning, I got so sick, and I hugged the commode for I think parts of the rest of the game, and it taught me a good lesson, because I never touched the stuff again. And you know, this is my first big memory of playing in the minor league.
Well, I'm not sure how good of a memory that is. I guess that's more like a lesson learned more than anything else. I was hoping you'd tell me about a home run or a great game you pitched, but no, I like that story. That gives kids out there and others who are listening to stay away from certain things. And no, I think it's a great lesson. Let's stay with minor league baseball. Let's talk about what are the effects that this pandemic is having on minor league baseball, and can minor league baseball survive without any games this season?
I don't believe so. I think we're getting way too late of a start. The minor league season, you know, the kids and then the younger players get scattered so much, and I think that there's no concentration whatsoever or direction for the owners to go ahead and restart minor league baseball, and they're putting most of their they're putting most of their energy to try to even get the Major League Baseball season started. I wouldn't look for anybody to see minor league baseball this year, Todd.
Well, I meant, do you think? Well, that's a good answer for that, but I meant, do you think minor league baseball is going to survive? And can we have minor league baseball next year? Do you think these franchises are going to fold? Because, I mean, they're not getting any income in. And, you know, these owners, they own several other businesses besides these minor league franchises, which are in the local community. This, to me, is a major concern.
It's a major concern to me, because that's where I came from. I mean, I started in the minor leagues, and the first time I heard of it was not too long ago. They were thinking about doing away with the minor league season. But I can tell you, nothing surprises me, because the Major League Baseball is getting so computerized and you know, so modernized that, you know, I mean, you know, I never thought we'd have instant replay, and you know, they were actually the way that they judge a pitcher, instead of having a scouting bureau that they used to, major league teams would use to scout the minor league players to see if they were ready to come to the major leagues, or they would, you know, advance scout major league games so you'd be ready for the team coming in to your city. And they've gone away with that so much. They're not using the old retired major leaguers, people with experience, to scout these teams. They're actually judging by computer images and stuff like that. So in a long sentence, it wouldn't surprise me a bit, whatever they do anymore. And it just, every time they get away from the old crack of the bat and pop of the baseball glove and, you know, and all that stuff, that, you know, from the reason I say it from you know, the old days, the way you define baseball wouldn't surprise anybody.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, there's so many employees. Some are year-round employees. Some are seasonal employees. Not only that, it hurts all, you know, the players and the front office and et cetera, but it also hurts the community. The community relies on the dollars from minor league baseball. A lot of folks travel through these towns in the summer, and they want to go to a minor league game, and they lose all the tourism to it.
Well, I agree. I have firsthand experience of that right now, because you know, Sacramento has what is the AAA team right here? What's the AAA team in Sacramento? It's the Giants affiliate. So,
Okay.
but they have that team here, and you know, people really. I mean, even my kids look forward to going to those games, and you know, they pack those stands. People look forward to it. It's a AAA affiliate, like I said, and they you know, you have some of the major league players come in that are doing rehab and stuff like that. It's an exciting thing for the city of Sacramento, and you know, all the other. You know, many years ago when I was playing in the minor leagues, the excitement of all the small town baseball and stuff like that, it would just break my heart that went away with it. It would personally, and I think for me, leave a big hole in part of the game, a big part of the game.
Well, speaking of holes, I mean, think about it. You know, you got your A and your double A places are still smaller towns, but now triple A baseball seems to be taken over even by the bigger cities. Like, for instance, the Atlanta Braves, for many years, they were in Richmond, Virginia for AAA. And to those people in that town, that was tremendous. And then they decided to move the AAA club to Gwinnett County, which is a suburb of Atlanta. And Atlanta's really big. So, yes, it can have a AAA team. But if you have the major league club 30 miles down the road, and it's still in the same city and vicinity, I mean, I get why they do it. It's cheaper for the club to call up the players from AAA and get them to the big leagues and et cetera. You can get them there in 30 minutes, whereas they're up in Richmond, Virginia. But it just seems to be hurting those type of communities too by the clubs moving.
No, I agree. And, you know, I think I can't remember too many minor league, you know, cities that I played in where they didn't have you know, they drew the fans. They drew a lot of fans there. I played in like you're talking about the AAA affiliate with the Braves is right outside of Atlanta, and you know, the AA affiliate for the Phillies is in Reading, Pennsylvania, and that's right outside of Philadelphia, and that's big time there, and they draw really, really well, and I think they can. The stadium, you know, holds 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people, and you know what? They have this thing looking beautiful, like a miniature major league field. So you talk about a hole, Todd. That would be one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Let's go ahead and go to Major League Baseball. Do you think baseball is coming back this season in the big leagues? There are a lot of people out there that don't think it's coming back. I do, because I think it's got to come back.
I think it's got to come back, but I don't think it is going to come back because going through the years, like I was a part of the 1981 strike when I was playing with the Milwaukee Brewers, and you know, they shut down the season. I don't know if it was halfway through the season or what it was, but they shut it down, and I kind of just have that vivid memory of that. And then you get the owners and the players involved of nitpicking and trying to figure out, you know, who wants what and this and that. And then you had the pandemic, you know, just so you couldn't get together in the days where there was no pandemic. And you didn't have to worry about you know, if someone was going to get sick in the stands or the players were going to get sick of this coronavirus. And now you have that huge thing sitting there, along with the season, you know, being started so late. And what do you do? So you get the bickering, you get the pandemic, and for me, yeah, I just can't see it happening. I really can't.
Well, it's funny because, you know, your teammate Warren Brewster, you played with him in Philadelphia. He thinks it's going to come back. I do think it comes back, because if it doesn't come back this year, I mean, if it doesn't come back for health reasons, that's one thing. If it doesn't happen between millionaires and the millionaires, the highest paid players in Major League Baseball, having a conflict with the billionaire owners, then I don't know if the game will ever come back, Randy. That's one thing that I'm really fearful of. And we'll have to wait and see. You know, we got Randy Lurch with us here. His book is God in the Bullpen. Go ahead and pick it up. God in the Bullpen, Randy Lurch's book. There's an event this Saturday. We'll have Randy tell you more about it at the end of the show. And Randy, let's go ahead and continue to talk about the conflict between the owners and players. You know, the players, they do, and the owners do agree on some things, which there is, you know, this is positive. They agree on the expanded playoffs. They each agree on a universal DH. They do agree with the games at home, at their home stadiums, because the owners, they want advertising and they want the suites open. So they figure they can get people in there. And then, you know, the players, they want to be home half the time. They don't want to play their games in a spring training complex far away from their families for 3 or 4 months. So, and they are close to all the all important health implications. They're close there. Now, where they're having problem is, which is unfortunately huge, is the money, and also you know, number of games. The owners want to end the season by November 1st to avoid a second wave, so they want between 50 and 80 games, and you know, they also want you know, they want that $787 million in TV revenue. And then the players, you know, they want the number of games to go to 114 because they're going to get paid per game. And they figure, you know, Major League Baseball can go ahead and improvise and play in late in November because they can play the games in warm cities and et cetera. But, you know, if Major League Baseball does propose a 40 or 50 game season, then the players would disagree to expand, you know, the expansion of the playoffs, which would mess with the owner's money. So reading all this, the wild card is the Commissioner Manfred. He said that, you know, he has a right via March 26th agreement to unilaterally start a season of any length and pay prorated salaries. The owners would accept this on an 82-game sliding scale proposal, but the players are not. So reading all that, I just wanted to give you where they were at if you didn't know. Where do you think they can meet in the middle and fix this?
The short answer is no. I don't think they can. And this is exactly the nitpicking that I was talking about. And, you know, we forget, or if we don't forget, you know, the clock is ticking. I mean, it's not like we, you know, like in 81 where we stopped and the guys were staying in good shape. Hopefully they are now a little bit, but now you gotta start kind of a semi-spring training again. So say you nitpick back and forth for another month, and, you know, you try to go to spring training or do this or that. And I mean, you know, it's just going to be too late. And in my opinion, I think the best simple thing, and this is if I had a magic wand, right, Todd? I would say, you know what, you know, hey, players and owners, look at, man, you know, we've got not the country, we've got the world that's hurting right now, and they miss baseball, and you know, the old saying, take one for the team. You know, let's this time, let's just suck it up and you know, and start this game again. And, you know, at least for an hour, I mean, not hour, 2 or 3 or 4 hours or what it is, you know, help to take people's minds off of this tragedy that's going on in the world, and just, you know, suck it up, and let's, you know, nothing like this has hardly ever happened again, but many, many years ago. So let's suck it up and think about the fans this time.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you know, maybe they would if they do start it up, because, you know, the players, I think they've been getting ready as much as they possibly can get ready without an extended spring training. They said they only need about 20 days to get ready. So, and if they expand the rosters, which they sound like they're gonna, to 35 plus players, that means the AAA kids are going to come in and get a chance, and maybe even some AA high prospects. So, you know, I think it'd be really exciting if they had a season, because with X amount of games, everybody's in it. Somebody gets hot, that with an expanded playoff, 500, you're in. And that would be wonderful for clubs like, think about it, that would be wonderful for clubs like Cincinnati. If they could get in the playoffs and say they won a round, holy cow. I mean, just there's too many good stories to be left on the table here. And, I've heard, what do you think of this proposal? I've heard about compromising where they could pay the players X amount here and defer some money a little bit down the line, but not a lot, because the players are going to have to give in on getting all the money. They're not going to get it. There's just no way. So what do you think of the deferred payments idea?
Oh, I like it. Let's put it this way. I like any way that's going to get the players on the field. And, where they're at right now, where, what is it? You were just saying that the players said, let's play 114 games. And then the owners say, no, we're not going to do that. Now that's your final offer. And, yeah, I like all those ideas. And it comes down to, again, let's just worry about, let's quit worry about nitpicking and let's get out there and take one for the Gipper. Let's go and play for the fans.
So if I put you in the spot of Manfred and you were the commissioner for this period of time, what would you do to get each sides to agree to play Major League Baseball and put aside their differences and play for a season? What would you do? I haven't given it much thought, Tom, but if it was me, I would, that's a tough question. I would cut everybody's issues in half and just make it equal. Just make it say, okay, but you're not, what the problem is, you're always going to have somebody that's not going to be, they're not giving me, I'm not making this much money. I'm not making that much money. And the reason I can say that is because I've been a part of these negotiations, not physically, but I mean, when the players are in the negotiations, when the representatives from each team were in the negotiations when I was playing, they would always report back to the players, so we knew what was going on. And it just comes down to, somebody's got to give a little here, a little there. Some people are going to get more than the others, and the end result, like I said before. And my answer to you is I don't know. No, it's okay not to know. I mean, the commissioner might just have to step in and say, hey, we're playing 80 games. I'll meet you between 40 and 50 and 114. Okay, you're going to get all the money that you paid for. We're going to give you some of the television money, and let's get on the field and just move on, because the guys that are making the league minimum, they're the ones that have got to play. I mean, they're the ones that need the money. The guys that are making around $500,000 a year. The guys like Bryce Harper, they're going to have to just take a hit for one season and still get $8-10 million instead of 30 and play, in my opinion, because the owners aren't going to be able to afford it. Your thoughts on that?
I agree. Especially you're not going to have that revenue in the stands. You're talking revenue. You're talking not just the tickets. It's everything, concessions and parking and all that stuff. You're talking millions and millions of dollars that the owners are going to eat. And then here's a player like Bryce Harper, or Trout and all these guys. I don't know what if they have issues or whatever. I haven't haven't watched or followed them personally. But they're going to be eating all that money, and it's just, I don't know. I would love to see it come out and take the great pastime and play for the fans. But my final answer is I can't see it happening.
Well, man, I hope you're wrong. My broadcast partner thinks it won't happen. We've been going at it a little bit back and forth, so we'll have to see who ends up being right. I hope I'm right, because we need baseball, and all the other people that are in the front offices and the ticket takers and the concessions and the parking, they need it. I mean, they need it worse than the players do. And, guys like David Price who are turning around and paying the Dodgers minor leaguers their salaries for the month of June, I just think that's a wonderful story. And if we could get other players to give a little like that, I think we could get a season. Randy, it's been really a pleasure today. Once again, your book, God in the Bullpen, the Randy Lurch story, a big leader's battle with drug and alcohol addiction and cirrhosis. Randy, I've got it on the screen. I'm showing everybody the book. Go get it. Tell them where they can get it one more time before I let you go, and tell them about your event on Saturday.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it, my friend. You can get the book at Amazon.com. Just go there and you can order the book right online, and you can also order it at Barnes & Noble. There you have it with that. And then we're going to have the virtual event on Saturday, the 6th, 3 o'clock Pacific time. Todd has the event. He says that you can go and click on to, and you can save yourself a spot. The response has been great. And, click on that event, save yourself a spot. And I'm going to be up there talking about, answering questions about my book, talking about how the book came about, and hopefully we'll have a great time on Saturday.
Well, Randy, my friend, thanks so much for coming on. God bless you and your family. Stay safe during these troubled times, and we'll talk to you down the road when we have Major League Baseball. How's that?
Same to you, Todd. You take care of yourself. Thanks for having me, my friend.
You too. That's Randy Lurch, God in the Bullpen. Go get the book, The Randy Lurch Story. Go look it up. It's a tremendous read. We need it at this time. We really need it. We need God in our lives. I'm not a preacher. I'm just praying for everyone out there that they stay safe, that we resolve our issues here in the United States and throughout the world. For Breck in San Francisco, I'm Todd Porter here in Atlanta with the ATL Prime Sports. Just want to let you know, I'll be out next week. I'm having a procedure done. JJ and the crew, along with Stephanie, will be in on next Wednesday. The next show will be at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday night. Good day, everyone.